Hello, my listeners. We are back and welcome to I Am Shatoria. And as your host, as always, Shatoria Christian. I am here. We are excited. We're here to talk about a whole lot of things, including love, hope, family, relationships, and a whole lot of faith. I'm really excited about today's topic because this is like my biggest hobby ever, and that's music. I love, love, love music. I love the music. I love the beats. I love the lyrics. I like my ratchet music. I like my gospel music. I like my gospel rap music. So I'm an in-between. I can get down with a little country, and a little metal, depending on what it is. So I love everything about it. So today I'm excited. I'm very geeked. I have someone here who is near and dear to my heart. He is gifted. He is awesome. His hands is magic on the keyboard. So I am so geeked to have him here. I call him my little brother. So, he my little brother. So he blessed me and run at our vow renewal. So anybody that saw the vow renewal, this is the young man that played the keyboard for us. Bless his heart, because he played for like 30 minutes straight, it seems. But I give him so much credit for it. So today, from Wichita Falls, Texas, I want to introduce my little brother, Mr. Anthony Ailey.
Yo, 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 yo.
What's up, little bro? How are you?
I'm good. Just diving into like some music as always. What's that?
It's a beautiful day today.
It is. Like if I had an excuse to be outside, I'd be outside, but I don't have an excuse.
How is Texas weather?
It's kind of surreal to, being at 3 digits, and then now we're climbing down, and we're just not complaining about 110 not too long ago, and now it's like, hey, I'm not going to complain about it being cold. People will, but I'm not, because that 110 melted me.
Yeah, the Texas weather is definitely one of those things to where it's like a hit and miss. It's hot. I'm kind of glad when we had the wedding, it wasn't so hot.
Yeah.
It was actually nice. It was like, and then we had the wedding at 7:00 in the evening, so it was perfect.
That's true.
I didn't get a chance to ask you, because you had on the black, because everybody wear black, but you had on your suit, and I know you was not there playing. Like, were you really hot while you was playing? Because I never got to ask you that question.
I probably could have chose a better jacket, but actually I was cool. I was in the shade, and then it's that adrenaline rush when you play in front of people anyways, and I was too focused on swimming through the songs and trying to make sure they flow together, and then kind of watching the door to make sure y'all weren't getting ready, because I was like, I still got some dope songs to play. Let me get these out real quick. So yeah, I was cool.
You did your thing. I'm definitely, when I look back at the video that I got back from my boy J Rid, I looked at the video and I was like, dang, he really out there playing. What's this song? And then when I look back at the video from Facebook, I'm like, oh no, he really played for a good minute, because I knew I told her, I think we got mixed up on time or something, and I told her, like, no, we can start at 7:00, and I realized that she was still playing, and I was like, how's that? Okay. But I love the way that I was able to give you my idea. I didn't have to give you music. I didn't have to do none of that. I was just like, hey, play whatever your heart feels, whatever God puts in your heart. And when I look back at the video, you flowed so beautifully. Like, it's like you knew, change song, but it flowed so well to where I had to listen again and realize that you changed it, but because it was such a flow.
Thank you.
So that was hands down, one of the moments that I didn't see until I saw it on the video.
Oh yeah.
I kind of like going back looking at that, and I have gone back and looked at it a couple of times. So I will say you definitely got a lot of rave reviews for people who did watch the wedding. Yes. How you was playing so well. So do know people was watching, and they
yes, ma'am.
Wow. Like, he played that. So definitely. Now with that, I think the world kind of need to know, who is Anthony A? Like, who are you?
It's a loaded question.
I know.
It's a loaded question. It's, it's actually, not to get too, well, that's what we're here for, the deep stuff. But the answer to that is ever changing, because Anthony Ailey used to kind of be all about music, and then he still very much is. But then I'm realizing these days that music shouldn't be the identity anymore. It can't be, because as Lecrae once said, if you live for their acceptance, you'll die from their rejection. And a lot of the times I'll put everything I have into music, and sometimes nobody will listen to it. And as much disheartening as that is, it's only because you poured so much into it and you want people to like it. But if you pour too much into it, if they don't like it, then you feel nothing, and so my identity shouldn't be in music. It's just a huge chunk of my life. But I'm still kind of figuring out who I am, ever growing. I don't put too much stock in certain seasons because the next season's around the corner. So I just take what I can. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water, take what you can and then discard what is not useful to you. And I just keep flowing. So Anthony Ailey's growing. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Now, and the fun that you mentioned Lecrae, because one of my favorite songs is Identity. Crazy part, like, I was literally just listening to that in the car. That is absolutely one of my favorite songs by Lecrae. I love the words to it. It's definitely one of those things that reminds us that our identity is not what we wear, the job, the car, the house, but it's in Christ. And that's where it flows from. So that definitely goes into what you said, that we are not, the music that we're putting out is not saying this is who I am to a sense, but what it's saying is what God has given me to give to you.
Yeah.
So I definitely like the fact that you put music out, and I can tell when I listen to it, especially when you will like write something and I see that you put it on Facebook and social media and everything, and it you can tell you're pouring your heart into that. But for me, because I'm the spiritual sensitive type of sister, I can see your heart flowing. It's like, okay, God, give me this, and He's giving it to you, and you're flowing.
Yeah, 100%.
So I definitely see that. Now, with that though, we all have like I said, I love Lecrae. I love my Christian rap for sure. Because I like rap here. I grew up, I'm a Georgia girl, and I like my rap, my T.I.
Yes.
I like my Christian rap though, like, Uncle Reese and, and like I said, Lecrae, I've loved Lecrae since the KAA days. So
man,
KAA days, and I used to see Nick and Reggie them going to KAA, and we be bumping Lecrae, like, I've had the opportunity to meet Romans 113 Click. I never forget, in Oklahoma City, they was doing some sound bites at a friend of mine's studio, and I had to go get something, and they was there, and I was like, oh,
man, that's crazy.
It was really dope. So, who influenced you into music? Like, who do you look up to when it comes down to music?
Boy, it's a good and a bad thing that my answer is, because my answer isn't, I can't pinpoint an artist because, truthfully, I get influenced by everybody. I mean, especially with the internet nowadays, you can be connected into so many YouTube videos, and I'm always watching production videos of just different ways to do things and just how people create things, because I'm really fascinated about the behind the scenes of how people create. The finished product is always wonderful, and I could get real cliche, but it's the behind the scenes of what you were thinking behind it and the thought process behind it that really intrigues me. So I'm always looking at production videos and how things are made, but my music palette is so broad. I guess you can say that right now I'm influenced by Hans Zimmer, and he's a film composer. But he composes in a different way. It's not like just straight, just orchestral classical sound like John Williams. It's like just moving, just really emotional scores from movies. And that, I will say that starting out, it was classical music. So I've always kind of been into orchestras and symphonies and operas at that, to be honest with you. And of course, our culture, we just want to sample everything. So I take most of that and just, try to run it through the producing aspect. But kind of like, Beethoven came from the church, right? He came from the church, and it's so many people respect him, but they look at him with admiration because he can just bust out melodies. But that's because he's a musician first before he's a producer, and so he can just bust out these melodies like crazy. And that's kind of how I am, in a sense, where I just bust out melodies like classical music and stuff like that. But not to be too long-winded, but I think film composers they have the biggest influence on me. And then, of course, my Christian rap, Andy Mineo is my guy. And of course, Lecrae. And I just think, just goodness, I run through phases with music. Like my palette is rock and jazz and I haven't touched on country yet. I'm being advised to hit on country. I know there's some gems in there. I need to ease into it first.
It is definitely some gems. I will not lie. I think I got to see Toby Keith in concert a couple of years ago. And a couple of
that's
others.
crazy.
So I definitely kind of do the country. I definitely love the concept of classical, but I definitely like jazz. Being got here in DC, go-go music is absolutely it literally grooves you. And then I have friends of different diversities, so I get to listen.
Heck yeah.
The Afro, and then on top of the Panama reggae.
Exactly.
It's really deep culture, but when you listen to the lyrics, you can tell when you're listening to. I call it real music, but that's just me. I'm a 80s baby as it is, so I love real music with the lyrics in it. Got you grooving and moving, but I'm an old school individual. I am a cameo. Give me Earth, Wind, and Fire. I will rock Earth, Wind, and Fire every day. OJ. I am literally a old school person. I'm not saying nothing really wrong with today's stuff, but
I am. Forget that.
it's not what I am grooving to at my stage in life. Even then, though, I grew up at home where grandma cut on Temptation Christmas every November, December. We had Temptation Christmas going. So,
man,
I'm a Temptation girl. I am like I said, Earth, Wind, and Fire all day. All day. Give me a little sparkle in your eye. That is my jam right there. And it's crazy because I do listen to music, of today, and you can hear those samples.
Yeah.
I think when the Clark sister, when their show came out about their story, I loved it because a lot of their music was sampled by so many artists.
For real.
So I definitely get what you're saying. And like you said, it's easier to be a musician first and then a producer, because as a musician, you can hear it. You can tell. I've seen a lot of musicians who turn into producers. I've been able to watch see how they can tell, this ain't coming from the heart.
Yeah. And I know we'll touch on that a little bit later but one thing, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun, one thing I did want to say that's kind of in response to what you said about listening to different cultures and having different friends that have cultures, is that's one right now, as of today, that's my biggest desire. Like my biggest desire right now is to travel the world, or just travel. Of course, I'd love it to be the world, but just travel and just get influenced by different seasoned musicians. I want to go somewhere and I want to be in a jazz lounge. I just want to play with some seasoned jazz musicians, pick their brains, go to, other countries if I could, and play their cultured music in Spanish. I want to get those riffs down, because I can take all those cultures and incorporate it into my sound. And that's how you should be as a musician. You take things and you just enhance it with your own abilities. But and you could still do that without traveling there because of the internet. But I just really want to be like just deep into it. I don't want to be doing anything digitally. I want to be in a band, because that's what's going to help me grow. That's kind of what it is for me right now, is that I'm super solo, and mostly it's because I chose it that way and I made sure to do it that way. But now I desire to play with other musicians that have been on the grind for, I need like a guitar player that's 50 years old. I need a drummer. I need a keyboardist that's 50 years old or 40 years old, so I could pick your brain and, it's, I don't know, it's just such a culture, and I want to learn and grow from those different cultures. Just take a piano drive.
No, but that's a good thing. And that's one of the things, I don't even think I had that as a question, but that is definitely one of the things that people as entrepreneurs, we have to come to a point in our life where we know we don't know everything. So you spoke about before, we have to have those mentors. We got to have that, the people that we can go talk to and be like, okay, I want to grow in this way. There is nothing wrong at 50 years old going to a workshop to learn some more, because you have those artists who are, reaching back and looking at the young people going, okay, wait a minute, what you doing? Because I looked at the battle between Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle, and what I was so blessed for them to say, they didn't have a clue what was going on social media. But they have stepped into where they have worked with different artists on different levels. You see rappers now linking up with country artists.
Yeah.
You got your neo soul. I'm a huge neo soul fanatic. I love the neo soul. It's relaxing to me. So you have them reaching out to other artists. Like it's like there's a song with Wyclef Jean, and I can't remember who it is, and it's so mellow out, but it's two different styles going that made this one song. And
Yeah.
I love it because it allows you to see worlds coming together, which that should be what we should be doing as culture anyway. We should be linking up and learning and enjoying the mix and things like that. So definitely, I don't even have to ask you what is music to you because you already said. So one of my questions, which especially with musical artists, is their instruments. What is the first instrument you actually learn how to play?
Are we counting the recorder? No, elementary. If we don't count the recorder in elementary, then
no,
it was definitely
recording elementary. I think we all did that, and some of us did not do well.
Me neither. I memorized a lot of stuff, but yeah, it was the keyboard. The keyboard was always first, and it's always kind of. It was when I was 12, and I always kind of had this thing for different music, which in Black culture that means classical music, but. It was a keyboard. Now I'm kind of on the piano and guitar a little bit. I'm not diligently working on guitar like I should be, but the goal with guitar is to play it flamenco style because I just love that Spanish sound.
Okay.
So that's that goal with that. That's why I even picked that up to begin with. But keyboard, it's kind of weird. Like it sounds really prodigy-ish, but it's I promise it's not that spectacular. But when I first picked up a keyboard, I made like my first song, and I just kept making songs. And it wasn't composing that was the thing. It was the fact of how I felt on creating songs. They were super simple. Like it could have been the ABCD song. I was 12, but I just kept making them and memorizing them. Like 20, 30 songs in my brain that are different, and I'm just memorizing them. And that's kind of how I started doing that. So composing was a thing I wasn't aware of that I had, but it's what I'm leaning more to who I am now is a composer, because I realized that with the different musicians you have out there, some are just straight sheet music. Some people can't pull out of the air music. Some people can't memorize. Some people can't do a lot of things, and I can do certain things that some people can't, and those are called categories. And I happen to be a composer. So that's kind of like me realizing what my lane is. Now I have to build upon that, and that comes from listening to other artists, and no different than a writer. Writers listen to other artists, and then they pull in their writing style and things like that. So composers are the same way. I just need to pull from my environment, but definitely the piano was the first, and the piano kind of captured me with its tone. So I kind of fell for the piano rather quickly.
Now, I would definitely agree. I think for me, I have listened to all of your songs that are actually out on iTunes.
Thank you.
On iTunes, but Journey is actually one of the albums that I love the most. I think my two favorite is definitely Reflections and Today. Like I love Today. I had Janae write her own words to Today.
Yes.
But
you better watch out. She's a little writer too.
Yeah, she can come up with a song standing in the middle of a shopping store. So yeah. But definitely Reflection. Oh my God, that beat. And I'll definitely play it for everybody to listen when we exit out. But Reflection
Thank you so much.
The bomb. Like I love Reflection. It just, I kid you not, it's like when I was working on the commercial for the launch of my business for I Am Shatoria, I was listening to that, like, I think for about good 4 hours on repeat.
Dang.
On repeat. And I was
Thank
like,
you.
God, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? And I'm writing down the words. God's like, save this for your business. And I can literally see Reflection being played. So I sent that to my guy who does multimedia and does commercials and everything. I was like, hey, I want this song. He's like, okay, I got this and I need an upbeat one. I'm like, okay, I'll find you another one, but I want Reflections. That's what I want. So I like the fact that you can compose and not have any words to it, because I think that also allows people to make their own words up.
Yes.
As they're flowing, especially depending on where you're at that moment. And because there's no words, you're able to listen to the beat and really soak it in.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's the reason why I love it. Now today has always been that one that's been definitely one of my top ones. But I actually just sat down and listened to Reflection, and I was like, whoa.
Thank you. That one was really important to me, honestly. I was scared it was too simple, to be honest with you, but that's not a thing apparently.
Wait, what was too simple?
The Reflections, because
really,
it's really just guitar, strings, and piano, really. And I guess the artist, I have no idea why I thought it might be too simple, but what's important about Reflection, if I may, that one. I was sitting in front of a mirror and I had this guitar. I actually just got off work too. And I was playing guitar and I realized as I was playing and trying to, just fill out what I'm feeling, like, you're playing, but you're like, how exactly what am I feeling? What am I trying to pull from this? And that whole time, I realized that I was avoiding my own eye contact. And I realized then even further that I always avoid eye contact with myself. Like I don't know how many of us look at each other in the eyes, but like it makes me uncomfortable to look at myself in the eyes in the mirror. And that's what I was realizing. I was like, whoa, that you don't really like your reflection. And I think it was, aside from the blemishes and all that other stuff, it was more of the spirit, man, like what was down deep. And I was realizing that I don't know who I am. And I had pushed that off in search of other things that I realized that I don't even know who my own reflection is. So was just playing that you said you listened to it for 4 hours. I was playing it on the guitar for like a good 2 to 3 hours, composing it, because once I sat down to record the guitar, I just knocked it out because I've been playing it. My hands were already ready to record it. So I had everything you hear in that song was made in one night. And I actually tried to add to it, but I couldn't because I was like, no, it's like exactly what I want it to be. So, what part was I playing? I was playing like that chorus part first, and then I'd made the verse. But a funny fact about that song is on There's Beauty in Death, which is my piano EP. There's a song on there called Mirage. And I wanted some form of reflection to be on there. So I had then recorded the piano. It's like a ballad piano. And it's basically reflection in piano form, but it's like really kind of somber, but I love it. So yeah. And at the end, reflection comes in and then you hear the rest of it. So that's the story on that one.
That's crazy about Reflection, because literally as I sat and listened to it, I was reflecting on what is I Am Shatoria. And I was showing myself that I Am Shatoria is not just it's not just a brand. It is a statement of I am.
That's
and
right.
It does. It really, you didn't need to add any more on the God said don't add no more, because
it
is literally, so when you said that it's simple because it only has the 3 instruments, I laugh because when you think of people who bake, some of the best cookies have three ingredients in it. Like, kid you not.
Yeah.
So I think when we do too much, it's too much.
Exactly.
And I think this was just right. It's the right amount of melody, is the right amount of passion. And I think if somebody's really listening to it from the heart, they'll hear that. And they can literally hear themselves. Like, it is very easy to take and just rock to. Especially if you need like a little piece. The Journey album, I think, is just that.
Thank you so much.
Journey album, definitely. And, like I said, I'm proud because you're on iTunes. So I was like, what? You on iTunes? Wait a minute, I can pull him up on iTunes. Hey. So, that says a lot, because a lot of people are now on iTunes still.
Yeah, that's true.
But I would definitely say, know your lane, know your niche, which you obviously do. That's a blessing within itself, because you want to make sure that you're not in someone else's spot when God is trying to keep you, where you need to be. So yes, we'll definitely play Reflection at the end. That's how we'll let people leave out today, because Reflection, I'm telling y'all, it's my thing. But definitely, like I said, go on iTunes. He's definitely on iTunes. But another question, because you've answered literally a lot of these questions.
I know, it's on accident.
No, you're good. So you're good. If you had, as we wind this up, if you had to leave people with anything, what would it be?
I think at 27, currently, I just want to leave a body of work. Like, I think the hunger to play piano everywhere isn't like I really have no desire for fame or anything, because like being famous is, if you just listen to famous people, they're like, you don't want this. And truthfully, I don't know anyone who would. Like, the goal was always just to play music for a living, whatever that embodied, church or my own compositions or just anything. If I'm in a band on the road, like, which sounds amazing, the goal is to play music for a living, because at that point you're not working, you're living your life and you're enjoying it, and etc. But I just want to leave a body of work. I think that I didn't leave anything on the table. Which is another thing as artists, is you're scared to put out vulnerable projects because you don't know if it'll be accepted or et cetera. And it's really the opposite. People gravitate to vulnerability, just like you gravitated to reflection. And not that you even knew the story behind it, but it sounded vulnerable to you. And you know what I mean? You gravitated to it, and it hit a certain spot for you, which is, it came out of a certain spot for me. So I just want to leave a body of work. And I think that's where I'm currently at as far as grinding. Like, I'm playing piano across my city as much as I can, and hopefully in other cities. And I'm trying to create every day and give the products my best attention and put my best foot forward, simply because I don't want to waste time. Like, there's actually some kind of thing I did. It's not even a quote or a motto. It's like a point of thinking that I kind of live by, and that's capitalizing and maximizing my time, which is why I go to sleep at like 4 a.m. for whatever weird reason. But it's like, there was one time I was at home, right? And I was like, I kind of want to play the game. You know what I mean? I want to play Call of Duty. I want to chill. And then I was like, you have this melody in your head. Just work on it real quick. And then 4 hours later, I have made a song, and it's like, you could have played the game and missed out on this whole song. It might not have even came out the same way, but you decided to work, and then here's this track that you created that you can be proud of, and Call of Duty will be there when I'm done. So that's really it. Is I really do live by the moment, and I'm really spontaneous, and living by the moment has its pros and cons. But when you're like, no, let's just take this idea real quick, and if you're not feeling it, you can walk away. But if you are feeling it, then you have something special. So just being ready for that at all times. I always told myself I was scared to date, because I don't want to, if I have to choose between a date and a gig, I'm going to choose the gig, which is not going to win me any points. But it's just
not.
That's a podcast for another time.
We're going to learn about this again. We're going to learn about balance.
But it's just really trying to capitalize, and so when I'm done, when the man has, music will always be part of me, but when the man is like, listen, I gave a lot, then I can look back at a body of work, and hopefully I've made several albums and just constantly created. So that's all, I think.
Well, that's good. All right. So where can they find Anthony A?
It's Anthony Ailey, which is Anthony and then Ailey, and that's everywhere on all social media platforms. Anthony Ailey on Spotify, iTunes, and honestly, every streaming platform. I've sent music to. I'm not even on TikTok, but my music is. So if you want to be on TikTok,
you have people on TikTok, because I'm not even on TikTok.
Do it before they banned it. But I definitely have music there, and just I made it a point to put music on every platform. So Anthony Ailey across the board.
Awesome. So for everybody that's out there, also do know that whenever you listen to my podcast, you're listening to Anthony A, because he is the one that composed the music that goes along with my podcast. So I'm really excited. And then anybody who watched The Lunch, he did that too. So I am really geeked and excited about the body of work and everything else. Definitely thank you for joining us today. We're definitely going to leave everybody with your music so they can definitely at least get a glimpse. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today on I Am Shatoria. Always know where your heart is and your desire is. And that's the one thing that I'm definitely blessed for when it comes down to Anthony and his work. It is definitely, his work is definitely like a relief for me. It is one of those, let me get into a quiet space and, I don't want to hear anything but the music. So I definitely appreciate that. So thank you guys again for joining us today. As always, you can check us out at IG and Facebook at I Am Shatoria and our website at iamshatoria.com. You can also check his stuff out on my accounts, which we'll be posting. You can find out who he is, where he is. He plays for weddings, parties, he travels. So,
yes.
Get at him. As always, you can go on my website. You can find out upcoming events, shows, encouragement, and inspirations. And again, things about Anthony. So I believe, as we always say, we walk in love, we live fearlessly, and always have a whole lot of faith. As always, it's never goodbye, but we'll talk to you later. I am leaving you guys with a little bit of reflection. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you.